This week on 100 Huntley Street, we shine a light on the discomfort of financial insecurities and tell you how we can live free of shame, knowing our identity isn't in money, but in Christ alone. You won't want to miss the life-transforming stories of people going from feeling helpless to finding hope. Welcome to 100 Huntley Street. We're so glad that you joined us today. And wow, we are going to dive into some great financial advice today. And joining me to do that is MacLaughlin. You are the CEO of Christians Against Poverty, or CAP. Thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, it's such a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
It's such an important ministry that you do. And I know some people have never heard of Christians Against Poverty. So tell us a little bit about what that does.
Yeah, absolutely. So Christians Against Poverty is a ministry. And we walk alongside churches, inspire them, equip them to help people who are facing financial insecurity, the pressures, and especially at this time, Cheryl, whenever 42% of people say that money is their biggest source of stress. Wow. And we really want to breathe hope and light into that situation.
That doesn't surprise me. I mean, this is a topic a lot of people don't want to talk about. They might be having that stress, but it's really hard. More than a third of Canadians say they feel shame toward their financial situation. But that same report said 1 in 4 Canadians avoid talking about it with their friends or family. So this is a burden that so many Canadians are carrying without any kind of support or way to get it off their chest.
Oh, completely. And that is so true. And we hear that so often, that people are feeling that pressure. And really, we want to try and lift that sense of shame and burden off of people's shoulders and really point people towards Jesus and do that in a really helpful, compassionate and faith-filled way.
Yeah, there can be a stigma, and that's what we want to blow apart this whole week. We're going to be talking about this all week. So you want to make sure to tune in because we don't want people to feel stuck in their financial situation. Christian Against Poverty is hosting a conference right here at the Crossroads Unity Commons called Moving Forward with Faith and Finances. And we're going to tell you more about that in a moment. But what can people expect from that conference?
Yeah, it's creating that space so that we can really think about peace and pause in the midst of all the busyness, all the frantic news that we hear, the pressures that we're facing, and really try and root our identity in Jesus because ultimately he is the source of hope and peace for us. And so, it's just creating that conversation, spending time together.
I love that because you're right. Like that identity piece, we can identify with our challenges, whatever they are, going through a divorce or a sickness or whatever. I'm a cancer patient. I'm in financial trouble. I'm poor, whatever it is. And we don't want that. And, finances cause so many people to suffer from anxiety and stress. An Abacus data survey from September 2025 said that nearly 2/3 of people, 62%, report worrying at least occasionally about their ability to afford the basics. These are like just the basics in life, nothing extra.
Completely.
That's stressful.
Yeah, and that can weigh on our shoulders, right? Because the cost of living does keep increasing. There's a Toronto Star article from last year that said rent and groceries have risen by almost over 40% over the past 3 years. That is a heavy weight.
That is, and of course this year Canada has faced some economic uncertainty because of the tariffs, so that's just making everything more challenging.
And I think in the uncertainty and the anxiety that we're all facing, during this week, we really want people to know that you are not alone. If you are struggling, it's never too late to seek help, to ask for support, and to start bringing this topic onto the table.
That is the message. You've summarized it so well. And the truth is you can live in freedom from financial worry and struggles. And all this week, we're going to equip you through real life stories, sound advice from personal finance expert Tim Sesniks. And still ahead, I'm going to sit down with a debt center manager from Christians Against Poverty. And you're going to love this, a client who is now living, drum roll, debt free. All right. You don't want to miss this story. Stay with us.
I lost my job recently, and it's been tough to keep my spirits up. I feel like I'm failing my family. Your prayers have given me renewed hope and guidance. You were there for me in my darkest moments, shining a guiding light. Thankful to say, our prayers have been answered.
Joining me now all the way from Saskatchewan is Lisa Ryken, Debt Center Manager at Cornerstone Church in Saskatoon, and Jennifer Jordan, who worked with Lisa to become debt-free 2 years ago. Thank you both for joining me.
Thank you for having us in here. It's a very rare opportunity for me.
Well, I want to give you credit for opening up your life, because I think a lot of people are going to find what you learned helpful.
Yes.
But I just want to start with you. Lisa, tell me, what is a debt center manager?
So many things. My primary role is to connect with our clients one-on-one and create a safe space for them to talk about what their situation is, to tell us their story so we can understand what their priorities are, what matters to them. And then we bring that back to our head office team, where we have accredited credit counselors who do all of the hard work with the budget and the money. And then we need to be able to take the advice that they formulate and bring that back to someone like Jennifer. But along with a whole big group of volunteers from our church at Cornerstone who are there to walk alongside and take those obstacles that feel impossible, that we're saying, okay, these are the next steps, but some of them are going to feel really scary and hard, but you're not alone. And there's somebody here who can come and walk alongside you and help it feel less scary, less difficult. And we're there for you every step of the way.
I think it's so amazing that churches are starting to wake up to this whole area of people's lives and saying, this is an area we can encourage and help them in. I don't think this is traditionally what's happened, other than like, we'll pray for you, or, so I mean, this practical help is amazing. But what is it like for people, Lisa, the first time they come to you and they have to kind of admit, I'm in trouble and here are my finances?
They are scared, right, Jen? I think it's really terrifying to make that first phone call and ask a stranger to help you with your finances. Nobody wants to talk about their money. There's a lot of shame. But we usually bring like a little gift from our church family, some baking or something, to help people feel at ease. And then one of the first things that we say to people is that we're here because we believe that God loves every single person, and He wouldn't want you to be struggling alone when we have the ability to help.
I just see the compassion all over you. I think what an incredible gift that is. And I'm sure that people feel that when they meet with you. Jennifer, you were in a really challenging situation. What was life like before you connected with this ministry?
So way back in 2017, I was really very stressed. I'm not sleeping. It's just like all the time. I don't want to cry. I don't want to. It's really hard because I'm doing just like full-time job, and then everything I need. I'm the eldest among my family, and my parents back home in the Philippines is just like struggling with their health, and I'm sending money. I'm helping, and then that time my sister also got into open heart surgery, and then I went to the bank to ask for money, just like to borrow money to help her because she was abandoned by her husband. And as the eldest, because the doctor told me and my other sister that, when are we going to help? Are we going to help my sister if she's gone already? So being the eldest, I stand up again because it's about my family. And we just bought our house too. And just like when we came here in Canada in 2011, I have 3 jobs. It's just like, I thought Canada is easy, but it's not. I was a teacher back home for 20 years, a public school teacher. And then before I left the Philippines, I had a principalship, just like to be a principal in school. And then when I came here in Canada, just like, whoa. My first job was housekeeping at Sheraton Hotel. And then doing just like, I'm always crying. I told my husband just like, I'm going home to the Philippines. I can't survive here in Canada. This is too much. And then we live in a basement that there's no bed or whatever. And my children's like, Mom, why are we here in Canada? What are we doing in here? So it happens like, so I did 3 jobs. And also my husband, we don't have car before that because we don't want to be into that. That's like, because my goal is just like to have a house, because we have our own house and back home in the Philippines, and then we're just like living and such. There's nothing. It's like from zero. You're going to start from zero again. And then so we save money, and then we bought our house in 2014, and then all of a sudden my sister needs help for that open heart surgery back home in the Philippines.
Yeah.
It's very, very expensive. There's no medical, like in Canada, that you're going to be helped. It's like you're going to go to the hospital and then you're going home. You're not going to pay anything. But in the Philippines, if you don't have at least $100 to pay for professional fee for doctors, you cannot be seen or whatever, especially in private hospitals, right?
And so here you are going deeper and deeper into debt, trying to help your family.
Yes,
and you at one point even kind of despaired of life.
Yes, yeah. So, and then 2017 was just like I was diagnosed with depression because I'm not sleeping anymore. But the doctor said it's functional depression because I work just like as normal. And then 2017 of October, I almost ended my life because I told my husband just like, I can't do it anymore. I'm Googling just like, if I'm going to be just like freezing my body outside, will the insurance pay? Just like what I'm thinking. And then, I don't know. I was sitting, nobody knows. Even my husband doesn't even know that I was outside at home. It's so cold. Saskatchewan, even in October, it's really cold during nighttime. I'm just like wearing my nighttime whatever. There's somebody who was beside me. I don't know who's that person. Just like, but I can hear just like, you don't want to see your children graduating, because my daughter's going to graduate grade 12 that time, 2018, and then my son is graduating grade 8. And then I don't know what happened that I was in our living room after that. So
wow. So it made you come in out of the cold, that voice.
Yeah. Yeah. And then 2017, that before Christmas, one of my coworker, that is Lisa's church member, right? She was my coworker, and then just like, and she's always, every lunch break, I'm going to hide into just like a storage room. I'm going to be by myself because I don't want to be with other people, because I'm in that functional depression that when I'm alone, I want to be just like, I'm praying and then crying. And then she asked me just like, you're always crying. What happened? What's happening with you? And then I told her, just like, I'm really struggling with finances right now. It's just like, what happened? We get rid of our landline phone because I don't want to hear every ring that it's just like the credit card companies and just like the call. And even my phone, I get rid of the voicemail because I don't want to be just like hearing those things. It's like I'm going to be stressed.
I think we understand why you were so stressed. I mean, that's incredible. But what was it like the first time you reached out to Lisa then?
And then I reached out to Lisa just like when my coworker. So just like, did you hear about CAP? Just like, what is CAP? I didn't know about CAP. So I started Googling, just like Christians Against Poverty. Then I started, and then I called you, right? I called her first, and then she told me just like, you know what? This is the number that you need to call. So I called the main office. I can't remember. The first ever person that I remember that I talked to is Rebecca. Rebecca Smiley?
Yeah, Rebecca.
Yeah, Rebecca, yeah. She's the first ever person that I talked to. Yeah, and then they send just like, okay, this is how we're going to do. And then we have the first meeting before Christmas.
At your house.
Yeah. At my house, yeah. Lisa and Beth came to our house with a basket of goodies.
And what was that conversation like? Because this is a conversation you have all the time. What do you tell people when they're like, I don't think there's any way out of this and I might do something drastic?
And people come with so much shame, right? Like Jen had been kind of hiding that. So often, like, right after I tell you God loves you.
You prayed for us
then
first.
Then I say, like, this is not something to be ashamed about. You have been doing the best you can with the tools that you have. And we're going to just help you find a way forward that's going to be good for you and your family. Like, let's talk about you. Let's learn about what your situation is. And we're going to help you find a way out. It's not a cookie cutter solution. It's not the same for every person.
Right.
So let's learn about you. Let's talk about your situation. I want to know you because I care about you. And let's help you find the way that's going to work for you to move forward.
We don't have time to go through all the steps you took, but it took you how many years?
5 years.
5 years.
Yes, and then we're debt free last 2023 of September.
How did that feel?
I know, it's just like amazing. We went home in the Philippines, we saved money, everything, and because of the budget management program that they're teaching for all the clients, so
Yeah.
we learned lots about CAP. So it's really nice. It's just like, whew.
I think that one of the things that I really love walking alongside clients is that it doesn't take until you're debt free to start to feel that pressure come off, right? When we have a plan and we start to move forward and they start to take those steps, then you can start to see that burden kind of lift already. It's like 1 month, 2 months down the process, and they're like, okay, I can do this. I've gotten started and I'm not alone. And you just you can watch someone like physically change.
That's amazing. The phone calls stop. The harassing phone calls
All
stop.
that.
Yes, that's the incredible part of this program. Yeah,
I think that would be one of the biggest things.
Oh
is
my
like
goodness,
that fear, that threat.
No one is going to call you.
Now, Lisa, I'm thinking of somebody watching right now who's like, okay, that's her story. I don't know if my situation is solvable, but they're feeling that same level of shame, despair, or pressure. What would you say to them?
I would say I've been doing this for 10 years now, and I have yet to come back to a client and say, we couldn't come up with a solution for your situation. You know, every time we sit down, we walk together, we find a way forward. And it doesn't matter where you're starting, you're not alone now. We're going to be with you and we're going to find you a way. And we're going to and it's your decision, right? Like if we get through this whole process and we give you a couple of options and you say, I don't like those options, then I will say, I still love you. That's okay. You can choose to keep doing what you're doing and we'll still be here. We still care. We're going to still invite you to stuff at our church. You know, you're not alone.
What I love about this is it's a ministry of the church, you know, like CAP equips churches to do this work. And Jennifer, as you went through this and this church walked with you for 5 years, like good, bad, and ugly, how did that affect your own faith in God?
Oh, it deepens my faith. Just like every now and because every time that I'm going to call CAP, they're going to pray for me over the phone. And Lisa, every time that we're going to talk, and Lisa assigned some volunteers from her church to pray for us personally. So they're texting me, they're calling me over the phone, just like praying for you that like you're not alone on this side. So God has given me the chance to be just like to know Him more better.
You know,
He's just like the best.
He is the best. I think so too. And I think about that moment, you know, that really dark moment when you're outside in the cold and you're thinking about leaving your family. Maybe the insurance will help them if you die.
I know.
You know, what would you say to that, Jennifer, now, all these years later, looking back? What would you say to her?
It's just like those things is like in my darkest part of my life. Maybe just like I was just like blinded, just like there's something just like in front of me that I'm not thinking about God. It's just like I'm thinking all my personal needs, right? But if we're going to think about this, like God is with us all the way into our life struggles, battles, whatever. If you have God in your heart, if you have God in your, just like in your family, nothing is impossible. Everything is just like God's plan. This is God's plan. I have a purpose, just like I told because I work in Christian environment is Alliance Church. So I told them, all the pastors, just like, I will be going in there, just like, I hope that I can give inspiration to other people that was in my situation before.
You're doing that right now, Jennifer, just by opening up your life. And again, I just want to honor you for doing that, telling your story.
Thank you.
Because I know so many people are encouraged right now. And the truth is, we can't do everything by ourselves. Sometimes in life, we hit something that is like, I don't know how to solve this, and that's okay. That's why God gave us community. That's why we have each other. That's why we have to take that first step and talk about it. And maybe that first step today is just calling our prayer lines. And man, that's why they're there. It's 100% confidential. We will pray with you. We'll start that first prayer like Jennifer experienced when she called Kat, and we will pray with you. That number is 1-866-273-4444. Who knows what could happen if you involve God in your challenges and your everyday story.
Yes.
Thank you so much, ladies.
Very welcome. Thank you.
I so enjoyed talking to you, and we'll be right back with more great financial advice.
I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. My soul makes it boast in the Lord. Let the humble hear and be glad. Oh, magnify the Lord with me, and let us exalt his name together. I sought the Lord, and he answered me, and delivered me from all my fears. Those who look to him are radiant, and their faces shall never be ashamed. This poor man cried, and the Lord heard him, and saved him out of all his troubles. The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him and delivers them. Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the man who takes refuge in him. Oh, fear the Lord, you his saints, for those who fear him have no lack. The young lions suffer want and hunger, but those who seek the Lord lack no good thing.
Feeling overwhelmed by money stress and shame? You're not alone. Too many of us carry the quiet burden of debt, anxiety, and fear around finances. But there's hope, and you don't have to walk this road alone. Join us Saturday, November 22nd for Moving Forward in Faith and Finances, presented by Crossroads and Christians Against Poverty. A free event with encouragement, practical tools, and spiritual support. Go to crossroads.ca/faith and finances. Your journey forward begins here.
What an inspiring story. It's just so exciting to hear how lives are getting transformed, and just beautiful to recognize it in the midst of unexpected events, whether that's illness or job loss, whatever else. Like, God is still there with us, and we just want to reach out that hand and take hold of him.
Yeah, I know that there's people at home right now just weeping because they're like, I'm where Jennifer was. Yeah. I feel hopeless. I'm thinking of doing something drastic. I don't think I can ever get out. And I really hope today, if you are watching, that, you're starting to think differently, that there's maybe a little light of hope in your life, that things can change. And we want you to come to the conference if you can, if you're nearby. That conference is happening November 22nd. What is the website for that? Crossroads.ca/events, I believe it was, right? So that's in the morning, 9 to 12. Cap will give you some advice and equip you to get into a different season of your life.
Oh, completely. It's all about taking that next little step, that next move forward.
Yeah, right?
Absolutely.
It is little steps. And, uncertainty is a part of our life. This is always going to be there. And that's kind of why faith in God helps you, navigate those moments with some hope and some peace. Here to give us advice on how to approach our finances through these uncertain times is Tim Sesnick.
If there's one thing in life that's really predictable, it's that life is unpredictable. And especially when it comes to our finances. How do we as Christians save or spend or think about money while we are trying to do what God's will is in our lives? I think it's really important to understand that even in the midst of unpredictability, God is in control. We talked a little bit about that earlier. Again, Psalm 24:1 says, "The earth is the Lord's and everything in it." God does provide. We have to be aware of that. So, we think about Matthew chapter 6, where the birds of the air are fed by God. How much more is he going to look after us? That passage talks about. But it's important to understand that in the midst of this uncertainty or unpredictability, there are certain things we should be pursuing. And in Matthew chapter 6, verse 33, we read, "Seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be given to you." So again, it comes back down to seeking first God's kingdom. And as we do that, we recognize that he is in control, he owns it all, and he provides. In those situations, we can be content in our circumstances, understanding that even though there's unpredictability, God is looking after us. So talking about contentment for a second, I just want to refer to Philippians chapter 4, where we read, "I know what it is to be in need." Now, Paul writes this, "I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I've learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. I can do all things through him who gives me strength. Again, it's a reminder that contentment is important. Understanding God is control is important. Understanding that he provides is important. And when we recognize those things, it takes away some of the anxiety that might be associated with the unpredictability of life and our finances.
That's wonderful. And that sense of anxiety, Cheryl, I think that's why we really want to encourage people to call the prayer line. So, if you're sitting at home and you're feeling a sense of shame or pain, we just want to say, please call. The prayer center is available 1-866-273-4444. Or you can email us at prayer@crossroads.ca, and we'll be there to talk to you, to pray over you and see what the Lord would want to do.
Yeah, that's right. Talking about it really matters, and it helps us just say to shame, you get out of the room, shame, or I'm not listening to you anymore, and to start a new journey. I hope you do that. Well, speaking of uncertainty, Tim talked about that. We've been watching, of course, what's happening in the Caribbean. Jamaica, Haiti, Cuba, Bahamas. Hurricane Melissa has left this incredible swath of destruction. And I don't know about you, Will, but my heart is just broken watching what's happening there. Just entire communities completely wiped out, every house flat, and every roof. Mayors are saying every roof in our town is gone.
Yeah.
And I've been on the ground in Puerto Rico after a Cat 5 went through, and I can tell you the terror that people experience and the destruction that it causes. And it takes time for aid to get there, which is why Crossroads Cares, we are responding. We are working with the local church. They are in every community. They themselves will have no roof. They will have damage to their buildings. But one thing I've seen over and over is that people show up from the church, just like we see with CAP, and they're there handing out aid, even in the midst of their own destruction, even in the midst of their own loss. Even sometimes people who've lost family members show up and they're there handing out food, they're handing out water, tarps for the roof, medical supplies, whatever people need. And so we have decided to do a response, and we want to invite you to help us. This is the way that we show that God is real. This is it. If people don't see us showing up for them, if they don't see us bringing that aid there, they're not going to believe it's real. It's just words. But when we give help like CAP does, when we give help with aid in those moments of great need, people realize that they are seen and they are loved and God is real. And so will you join us? Let's respond. Let's show up. Your best gift would be so appreciated. That number is 1-800-265-3100. You can also give online at crossroads.ca/relief. And Will, like the unpredictability, like who knew this would happen? One of my good friends was supposed to go on to her honeymoon to Dominican during this week, and you just don't know what's going to happen next.
No, and I think that's part of, as Tim said and shared that verse, in times of plenty or in times of trouble. And this is really where we can step up in a time of trouble and let somebody know that they are being thought of, that we are with them every single moment. Yeah.
I've heard it say Jesus with skin on. And I know a lot of people were having trouble contacting their relatives. A lot of my friends, a lot of my coworkers have been struggling with getting in contact because the cell phone towers are blown down. All of that. I know it's a time of stress, so also remember our prayer lines in this moment as well. You can call them and we will pray with you for your family members and whatever they're facing. So many of us have family in the Caribbean. And remember to give, please. That number again, 1-800-265-3100, crossroads.ca/relief. Thank you for all you do. Bye.
Thank you for your ongoing support of Crossroads, a supporter-funded nonprofit organization and member of the Canadian Centre for Christian Charities. Thanks to faithful people like you, we are able to continue producing 100 Huntley Street. You can write to Crossroads, P.O. Box 5100, Burlington, Ontario, L7R4M2, or visit crossroads.ca to learn more about our programs.
Hello, I'm Kevin Shepard, CEO of Crossroads and Yes TV. I have some exciting news about what God is doing here, and I want to invite you to join our special community by becoming a monthly member. And here's why you should. Inspiration. Our content uplifts and inspires, and as a monthly partner, you help share the hope of Jesus with so many. Impact. Crossroads is more than media. We provide 1,300 prayer interactions daily, offering comfort and biblical resources, and your membership makes an eternal impact. Global missions. We respond to disasters and partner with NGOs for relief and rebuilding. By joining, you care for those in need. As a Crossroads member, you join like-minded community. You get exclusive content, friendly support. You can attend member events and stay informed. Becoming a member is simple. Choose your monthly level and payment method, and we hope you would join us, make a life-changing difference in people's lives today. Thank you for your commitment to our shared vision.